Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Join us as we break down Gen V Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, exploring all the twists, character developments, and hidden details that set the stage for an epic season. We'll dive into the dark secrets, intense moments, and what's coming next for these complex characters. Whether you're a new viewer or a seasoned fan, this video covers everything you need to know about the first 2 episodes. Plus, stay tuned for our exclusive panel interview and questions inspired by the latest episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Gen V insights and pop culture content. Hell yeah, why don't you break down today's title or the first episode?
Oh, okay. New year, new you. I thought this was really quirky because nothing has really changed. They're just kind of going with the motions and doing these promo type videos just to kind of stay, I guess, in the good graces of the new psychotic being Cypher. And so everybody's pretty much pretending at face value, but you can tell when they do these videos, especially Jordan. I love it. You know, it's just real dry. I'm reading from the teleprompter. This is not really a new me, but I'm going to pretend. I'm just going to pretend so I can get what I need to get done.
Okay, good. All right. So we learned a few things in this particular episode, but look, I'm not going to waste anyone's intelligence. Let's just get straight to it. How do the initial episodes, when we're talking about episodes 1 and 2, expand the show's darker themes and character struggles? Let's go with Chad.
Oh, okay. Come with that one straight out the gate. All right. I don't expanding the darker themes. I don't know if I necessarily say they did that because it was already kind of dark as it was, especially how it ended. So I think it's more of a continuation of things. I don't know if it necessarily got any darker yet. Still, they got 6 more episodes. They can go and do some dark shit after that. I don't know. My general thoughts on Gen V and the boys kind of stuff is that, you know, it's supposed to be satirizing fascism and all this other stuff, and they go real over the top with it because they want the dummies to understand these are clearly the people you're not supposed to like, so they clearly lay it out for you how it's supposed to be, and that's cool, except when they started the show we didn't have fascism, so it wasn't it didn't it's supposed to shock you into realizing that this is all bad stuff. It's just that the world has kind of changed. So now that all that stuff, it doesn't feel as shocking, or it's kind of dude, I'm living it. I'm looking at this outside my window right now. So it's not a fault of the show. It's just kind of how the world has changed. And that's that was the first thing that kind of grabbed me watching this, is that, well, I'm still into it. You give me a mystery. I'm a mystery sucker. I'm just going to sit here and I want to figure everything out. But that part of it, which is a big part of all of this, it doesn't feel the same, but it's not the fault of the people making the show or anything like that. So, and maybe that's why I don't feel it's darker, because again, this is all stuff that's now here at my doorstep for real. So it's not something different to see it on this, outside of the booty hole monster and stuff.
Oh yeah, darker themes and character struggles.
So for me, I'm gonna just go straight into the death of Andre in real life and in the show. Kind of set the tone for me in a kind of somber light. The way that they wove it in definitely worked. And so that for me is what creates a lot of the character struggles across the board. And so they're dealing with, basically, the death of a friend on top of this power structure that is Vault. Help me with it, Vol. What the
Vought.
Vought, yes, thank you, Vought. They're dealing with all of that. The new psychopath Cypher, who no one knows what his actual powers are at this time. At least I don't, because I never finished The Boys, and so at any rate, there are lots of things going on there. But for me, the primary character struggles is everybody having this breakdown of Andre ultimately losing his life from his father, his friends, all of that.
Well, that's a good segue for a question that I had in my head. I didn't write it down, but how did they handle Andre's real life? Well, we're saying Andre, the real person's death, Chance Perdomo. How did they handle his real life death in this show? Did they do are they doing a good job, or did they miss something? Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think they're doing okay with it, because it's instead of just like, let's do a recast or a rewrite and just completely ignore it and just move forward. I feel like at least across the episodes that I've seen so far, they're not letting it go. They're continuing to mention him. Is honestly an overall theme, the loss of a friend. They're not letting it go. So I do appreciate the writers weaving it in that way to kind of do them justice. So I am not upset with what they've done.
Chad?
Yeah, I would agree. This is a difficult situation all around, and they chose to go this route where they're keeping him an integral part of the show, not only to keep the character going, but it's kind of a way to like honor the actor that portrayed this character, and it's really down to whatever those decision makers felt was right, not only for the character but for the actor himself. And the way they speak of the character, even though he's not there, I mean, it's always in the best of light. They basically made him the most heroic of everybody there. I think that's mostly in part for the memory of the actor himself. So again, tough situation, but it was one of the things I wanted to see. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer, but I think they're doing it justice so far. And the way the character was, I don't think it's kind of the way they're portraying him now. I think it makes it easier for people to just kind of accept that he was this good person, and that translates to the actor as well. That's the only kind of thing with that. You can make different creative choices for the character, but they're not going to do that because of the actor. So far so good. I don't think they'll do anything crazy after this. I think he's just going to be like that symbol of heroicism, or whatever the word is, from here on out.
Okay. So speaking of old characters, let's talk about some of these new characters or storylines that stood out. Which characters or storylines stood out the most to you, and why? Let's go with Elia.
New characters?
Well, you mentioned one earlier.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. Listen, you will alley-oop it to me every single time. So, my God. He is like probably my new favorite villain now. I love the dry humor. I love that he is so absolutely crass and just dark. He is playing a hell of a villain for me right now. And I love just how he was just sitting up there. I'm like, well, first of all, what is in this smoothie? It's no longer a smoothie. It's a roughie at this point with all the stuff that you are putting inside of it. And so he's having this exchange with Kate. And when he went to put that girl in the blender, I was like, oh, he is not dicking around. He is serious. And so it's like, I love seeing him. It's like you're terrified for everybody because you still can't quite figure him out. And I love that. I love that. So he has definitely been the one, Cypher, that has stood out the most for me, because I'm like, wait, what new characters? Oh, wait, yes, him.
Mm-hmm. Chad?
I mean, when you say new characters, he's the only one I really think of. He's the only one that's got like a lot of the focus so far. So he's the obvious answer. I want to know what's going on with him. He is clearly shady as shit. We don't know what his powers are, if he has any, and he's tied to the kids at the little prison thing they were at. So I think he's the obvious answer for new characters. So I guess I'm going to kind of cheat and I'll say Polarity, Sean Patrick Thomas, because he's not a new character. However, he's getting an expanded role. I'm assuming most of the things they were going to have his son's character do in this season are going to him. So it adds a new dynamic because now there's Emma clearly states this is different when we have an adult around, and they've given them an adult in this situation.
And he's funny.
He is funny, yeah. Because I mean, last season he showed up, but he was always the kind of almost disapproving father. I want to see more from you kind of stuff. But now we get to see him in a completely different light. Coming out, he's dealing with this major grief and how he's been handling it so far, and then having to turn and now try to live up to the hero image of his son. So it's a new. We get to see him in a new light. So I'll cheat and say him as a new character.
So I was honestly gonna mention him. His storyline, not necessarily a new character, but as a storyline, I'm really enjoying that. I'm actually enjoying the fact that it's Emma that is like paired with him. It's like it's a great duo, especially like when she got big and she was naked and he was looking, you know, especially because you know a couple scenes before that he was looking at what do you call it, mutant porn. So it was like should I look? Can I look? You know, it was all of that. And then, you know, like at some point, his trauma is going to come out, right? And that's on par with this type of show. And so, you know, how is he going to fuck shit up? How is he going to help them? You know what I'm saying? It's like all of these different things that are like running through my head. And it's like, ooh, I'm loving what I'm seeing. And so, yeah, so that's the storyline that I'm paying the most attention to right as of right now, other than, you know, the whole thing with Odessa and all of that. All right. So
quick question.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but she's the one who can mimic powers, and she kind of had a face-to-face with Emma, the one that has a tail. I don't know her name, but
I don't remember her name.
Oh, is she gonna be something major in the show? I don't know, or just a type C or D character, but either way, that's a dope power to have. You know,
the one with the third leg. Okay, so how does this season build on the political and social commentary introduced in previous seasons? So Chad kind of sort of mentioned it earlier. Let's go to Elia. So one more time, how does this season build on the political and social commentary introduced in the previous season?
Chad mentioned fascism, and so in this season it does continue to build, right? Because we have it's anti-human rhetoric at this point, because they're like, we're superior, we're not putting up with this from humans. So they've really dialed it up quite a bit in this season for the suits. And so I'm saying suits and not superheroes because apparently it's given that they are awful people, stating the obvious, with the exception of those that kind of have gone AWOL, like Starlight. But yeah, it pretty much just dials up the anti-human rhetoric for me in this season.
Chad?
Yeah, I mean, the fascism is the obvious one, but also so the kids are taken back to the school and basically told they can't do anything else. They can't leave. And then with this new dean, he's got his own agenda for them, and it's pretty much like regimented out what they're going to do. So while they're free from that prison that they were in, they've come to basically another sort of prison in a different way as they're trying to find their way out of that. So they dealt with some of that last year, but I think it's going to be more intense this time because he clearly knows what our three main characters have done, almost knocking off old girl, which we hadn't even mentioned yet. That they kind of knocked her off, almost knocked her off, left her for dead. I don't know why people don't check posters around there, but and now they're trying to figure out what we can do until she wake up and rat us out.
Then they glorified her. They glorified her. Oh my God. That's such a amazing person. She was attacked. And I'm like,
which again, glorifying a really terrible person that seems to be like, in vogue these days. And this show was written a whole year ago, but again, right there in your face. So they always touch on something political and current, even though again, they made this shit a whole year ago. But those are kind of some of the things. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the whole, since we got a whole clan shrine in the back of that building, which again, they were very blatant about this, because right before you see that is when they go to the frat house and he's saying these white dudes started this for states' rights and nothing else. And like once he said that, I'm like, oh, we dealing with real deal racists. Gotcha. And then they go out and they show you, yes, if you don't know what a racist is, we know what you think a racist is. Here's the Klan. Now you can't say nothing else.
So what do you think? I want to go to Elia first. What do you think about the fact that God dog it, I can't think of his name. I'm gonna call him the Aquaman dude. The fact that he's been president of the chapter Deep. Yeah, he's been president of the chapter for years, right? And so he is the symbol of this fraternity. And so what are your thoughts about that? Even though, like, I wouldn't have pegged him, no pun intended.
So asinine.
I wouldn't have pegged him as someone who would have been associated with that, but at the same time, he's not the type of character that puts two and two together. What are your thoughts?
It's true.
I absolutely don't have any thoughts about that. I don't. Nothing. I have nothing to share. I'm still on the keg thing. It's just.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't have any thoughts, because I wanna because we are talking about the guy that his power is up the butt. I don't know. It's this ongoing theme here. I don't have any real thoughts to share about that. It's just the poster child for tomfoolery.
Chad,
I got nothing.
I mean, it tracks for him. He's just so he's so like pick me and wants to be the center of attention. So what's the best way to be the center of attention on the college campus for him than to be the president of the chapter? And I just won't leave, because who's gonna make me leave? That means that everybody that comes through knows me, and it just feeds his little fragile ego, and that's what he goes for. So he's really kind of pathetic, and this is a pathetic move, so it completely tracks for him.
Okay. Project Odessa. What's really going on with Project Odessa? Okay, so first off, this started in the 60s. There's absolutely no way that this whole project is all about Marie, right? But they believe that it's all about Marie. What does this Project Odessa, what does it portend for this season?
So
I'm sorry.
Because we saw there was that little preview clip at the end of the first episode where we see the dean saying to Marie, "You could be more powerful than Homelander," and all that. So I immediately go to, well, clearly they were trying to make another mega super soup at some point, and it ultimately ended up being Marie. Now, how did we go from way back there to her now? I think that's the story that we're going to get. But I think they were trying to make another Homelander, or I mean, I don't know, the timelines don't match up. So they be trying to make another Soldier Boy, and it ended up being her. Whereas in Homelander came along some other way. But what were they exactly trying to make? Don't know. That I think that's all. That's what we're all going to try to figure out. But it was. I was not expecting it to be her. So they've got my interest in how we're getting from these old ass white dudes doing whatever to end up having this young black girl.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. To me, that's the biggest mystery. Like, because the foundation of Vought Industries is a racist one, and if you recall, in season 1, the CEO was a black man, right? So the evolution of Vought in and of itself is almost wrapped up into all of these different characters and what the organization is and what it might evolve into? Question mark. That's a big mystery for me.
I don't know what in the slave breeding Odessa got going on, but it's insane. I really hope that they get some answers from my girl Marie, because this is a lot. And then to see Cypher in that picture, cringe. Hold on. What does he have to do with my birth? And so I agree with Chad that perhaps this was supposed to be some way in a super soup of all soups. And apparently there's some type of animosity, to say the least, between Cypher and Homelander. They are not rocking. I'm gathering they are not on the same side. And so he, being Cypher, seems to want to train Marie up so bad. Like, what are you planning? And not just Marie, but he has them all going through training, but with his focus primarily being on Marie, at least for how I'm seeing it. So are we trying to take Homelander out?
I hadn't even thought of it. Yeah.
All right, let's go on a different route. So especially as it relates to I'm going to call them the teenagers, the Gen Vers. How do their relationships evolve in these first 2 episodes? Because things have changed from season 1 till now. How have their relationships evolved? Let's go with Chad first.
I mean, the obvious one is Marie and Jordan. I'm actually surprised that just in the 2 episodes we watched, they went through quite a shift, because Jordan was clearly pissed at Marie for breaking out and not even thinking about coming back to get them. And where we end up at the end of episode 2, where Marie just comes down and says that she loves Jordan, and Jordan does what felt like to me the typical dude thing, was to be like, huh? And then like, oh, something else is happening. Let's roll out to avoid the question, because that's exactly what happened. Like, oh, these fireworks saved my ass. Let's get out of here.
Or as soon as he hears the word love, or she hears the word love, all of a sudden it's a male.
I'll give him credit. He was already male before that happened, but that was quickly a time where it'd be like, dude, fireworks, let's go. But I thought they were, because you typically see when the 2 characters aren't, like, one of them does something that upsets the other one, and in this case, I mean, I get it. She left, we were still there. That basically led to I can't remember his name. What's his name? Dying. I get her being mad, Andre. Yes, it. But normally they would have played that out for like half the season. But we pretty much got to the middle of the 2nd episode and like, now we're done with this. But they introduced this new dynamic, which I see them getting a lot more run out of. Like, she has just admitted that she loves Jordan, and Jordan, I mean, played it as, I don't know what at that moment it was a he, what they were thinking in the moment, because there was nothing on the face. It was just like shock and like, I got to get out of this. So Does Jordan love her?
Literally, I gotta get out of this.
Yeah, you can see,
in this.
yeah, you can see the thought process. It was like, huh, I gotta go. Something's gotta happen. Oh, look, thank you. So I'm really curious if that love is gonna be reciprocated. I don't really know. And
you haven't seen episode 3.
I have not seen episode 3 yet. No. Okay, so we get answers in episode 3. That I'm not gonna speculate. I'll wait and see that one and have comments after that. But I think whatever happens in episode 3, I'm more than sure they're gonna keep dragging this out for a few more episodes after that.
Oh yeah.
Definitely stole my answer. Everything that Chad said. But also another dynamic, and I cannot remember his name, but I'm gonna call him the one that got tripolar disorder with the puppets and shit. Him and Elma. That dynamic has been a breakdown, especially since he's been continuously getting wiped by Kate and seemingly voluntarily getting wiped. Don't want to feel anything, don't want to remember anything. And so I'm interested to see how that's going to continue to play out, especially since they were so hot and heavy last season and now they're like enemies. So there's that whole dynamic. Kate's dynamic with literally everyone. That is, I hate Kate. T-shirts. Okay.
I forgot about that.
I hate Kate. Like they not fooling with her. They tried to out her. Wouldn't even try to save a life. Just take her out. Don't even worry about it. And no one felt a thing. Just walked out bloody.
No, they felt a thing. It was like, how do we get out of this without having to touch the bitch? Cool. Just walk away.
I have a question for y'all. Do you all think that Kate is a villain?
To who?
To the show.
For the show? Right now, she's definitely a villain to her former friends. They hate her guts. And she has done some very despicable things. She said she's been part of, the underground torture that the school is doing. So I think I would say she is. I know the show is trying to play like fast and loose with her morality because she's doing these things, but she's also doing these things so she's able to help the people that she says she loves, but she is still doing some really, really like bad, reckless shit.
It's a walking, talking dichotomy for me with Kate. Is not as simple or on the nose as she's a villain or she's the hero. She's, for me, you're gonna get a fence straddling answer because it goes back to my personal mantra: good people do shitty things. Shitty people can do good things, and so we've seen Kate show up in ways that aren't awful. We've seen Kate just need to be murked. And I can manipulate blood, but I'm gonna still watch it bleed out.
So Johnny says he loves Kate, and I'll be honest with you. In season 1, I got it. I understood that she was this morally ambivalent type of character, but there's something about her that I love. In fact, I kind of think that I would approach a lot of the situations that she's been in very similar ways. Like, I'm seeing the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is this, and I'm operating in the way in which I'm operating, and people just not feeling me because of how I'm operating. But at the same time, like,
Kate has been a victim. She's definitely been a victim. And so there's that. So that's why I don't hate Kate, but I understand why they hate Kate.
Yeah, I don't hate her either. I mean, at the end of the day, I think she's more or less a survivor. It's just going to be like, if you're on the wrong side of the thing she did to hurt people, then yeah, you ain't really get down with her. But I get why she did it.
Let's change things just a little bit. Were there any moments or details that you think hint at deeper plot twists coming later?
Right.
And for those of you all watching, hit us up in the comments.
Yeah, right now, I think they've laid out all like the big things so far. I'm sure there are some more twists. Um, Maybe I just didn't pick up on like smaller things we'll get later, but it seems like they were very explicit. Like these are the things we want y'all to be concerned about right now. We're not telling y'all anything, but we letting y'all know these are the big things. Uh, I don't really go to the boys of Gen V for subtlety. So I think what they've laid out is what they want us to know.
I'm
Okay.
thinking, and this is probably stating the obvious, like Chad just mentioned about the direction that they're going in. Perhaps Starlight squadding up with Marie and all the rest of them to bring down Homelander, or potentially even Cypher or Vought altogether. Um, I don't know. I'm interested to see how Will Marie's training goes.
You know what?
Now,
That is something that I'm really interested in, for a lot of different reasons, not just for the progression of the season, but for the progression of the show, because they're going to be there for a number of years. Some of these characters have been there for a while, like Kate. She's been there for a while, so we can assume that there are going to be some characters that fall off and some new characters that come along. And so to see their powers progress is in keeping with a show like this. And so I want to see that happen. I'm all for more powers.
I do think the one thing I do think of, and it took you saying that for me to think about it, since we know this show pretty much leads into the boys, and the next season of the boys is the last one. I do expect there to be something outside of all the cameos we've got, because we've gotten a lot more. It seems like we've gotten a lot more just in the first two episodes than we got all of the first season. But I do expect there to be something or some things from this season that carries over into the boys to go into that finale, even if it is characters themselves, because again, a lot of these characters are getting trained. The boys are going to need people to help take down Homelander. That is what I imagine that last season is going to be like. This is the end game. We're taking down the big dude. We need some people to help. This place has plenty of those kind of people. Also, plenty of those people to be on the other side as well. So I'm looking for how they're going to set that up for that kind of carryover.
All right. So Johnny says, I would love to see how Kate's mom and brother are doing. What are your thoughts about that?
I'll be honest.
Hell yeah, your face.
Yeah. So your face tells me that you remember about them. I have completely forgotten. So if somebody want to do a quick review about them, because I remember
They're afraid of her.
That's right. I knew it was something messed up. Okay, so they clearly see her as a villain. In so, but I would imagine we would have to see more of them, right? If they're afraid of her, and she got a head bust in, and now she's coming back a hero. A good photo op is the whole family.
Yeah. How does this season's tone and style compare to last season's?
Okay, so I said it before we started recording. I'm gonna say it again, and I could 100% be inaccurate. I feel like there's way more gore. Like Chad mentioned, they just started right out of the gate, coming out of control. There's a lot going on when they introduced, introduce or reintroduce the Dr. Godolkin or whatever, and that whole clusterfuck of what went on with those experiments. So I felt like the gore was turned up, and I didn't even think that was possible. Again, could be wrong, could be pretty much on brand and consistent, but to me, it just seemed like more. There's that. And then, of course, the obvious that we stated, the tone was a lot more somber coming into this season without Andre, that being Chad, the actor.
Yep.
Chad?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the level of gore, but they came out swinging with the gore, so I can see why you would say that. It felt to me, I have not gone back since we talked about it, watched it 2 years ago. but it felt to me uh, mostly the same. Definitely the parts when we're talking about the passing of the actor, like that, especially early on, that does feel more somber, as that's necessitated by the fact that we're just introducing all that to the people that don't know. But outside of that, I think it feels kind of the same. But again, I've not seen it in 2 years. I could be completely out the box too.
So Johnny says more shock value. Good thing I don't eat during the show.
See.
He
When-
said,
when we-
did he say read the comment again? Read the
Could
comment.
you could you imagine that coming out of somebody's ass and just wrapping it all around you? Just
A kraken.
Again, like he said, I said this one before we started. I was like, I normally don't eat during the show because of shit like that. And I was like, yeah, I can have my little snack when this starts off. It's gonna be cool. No, booty hole monster.
A booty monster.
the booty monster. Yes.
I loved it. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any questions that you're eager to have answered as the season progresses?
Who the fuck is Cypher? I want to know. I want to know more. I need his backstory. I need all of it. I need it because I am in love with him as a villain. I am. It's just so
And his
sexy.
sexiness level.
You heard the rest of what I said. I think it's so sexy. He's just horrible. He is absolutely toxic, and I love it.
Chad.
I mean, that is the question of the show. Is like, who is this dude, and what does he want? Everything else kind of plays into that. I mean, there is the question about Marie and what is Odessa, but really, I think once you figure out one, you're gonna figure out the other. So, who is Cypher? And I want to know what his powers are because they introduce you to him with him making that smoothie, and the first thing you see him put in there is that
it was not smooth.
No, it was not. I mean, the first thing you see him put in there is that whole chicken. He just like stuffs it up in there, and I'm not sure if he really wants to put Kate's hand in there, if he wouldn't have still had that smoothie with her hand matter going in there. So whatever his powers are, I'm pretty sure they're pretty disgusting. But I'm very, very curious to see how all of those things feed into who this dude is.
Okay. All right. Good. From Chad, I don't know if you've ever watched Mayfair.
No.
You've not watched Mayfair. All right. So if you've ever had a conversation with Elia, she hates Mayfair. And we cover Mayfair. And so shows that we watched are rated from Mayfair to 10.
I love it.
So episodes 1 and 2, I don't know if you want to put them together or separate them out. How would you rank these 2 episodes?
I will do them together. I'm going to give them, let's say, I'm going to do 7.5. 7.5. I think it's a nice introduction, get you warmed up for and throw them back into the world of Gen V and the boys. Not perfect, but it had some goals that it was trying to achieve, and it did those particularly, like introducing some new ideas, getting you used to the characters and the loss of a character in real life and how they're going to handle that. So I think it's a nice introduction, and it sets them up to go up from here. I think it should be up from here.
Oh yeah.
For me, I'm gonna give it a whole 8 because of the booty holes.
I'm glad I didn't drink this first.
Since they showed their ass in this episode. That along with, it was, to me, it was a great homage to the actor. I'm gonna keep going there. I appreciated that they didn't just sweep it to the side and do nothing with it. So for me, I would have probably come around 7.5 as well. But I'm gonna give it 8 again, a whole 8.
So 8 inches. All right. So I'm gonna give it.
Chad, we're horrible. We do this all the time, and it can go on for hours. It really can.
Oh, I believe.
I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. What I did not care for in this particular show was they put so much into it. And I understand that they're setting the entire season up, but I feel like some things could have been left for like a little later. Like there was this whole scene with Emma when she got small and she was at the frat party and she found a phone and I get it, I got it, but you spent millions of dollars on that one scene that could have been cut, and it was not important. They could have found it some other kind of way. It's just the way that my mind works. There were just some scenes that I feel were not relevant as of right now. Might find out 2 episodes from now where it was very relevant, but based upon where I am right now, I feel like some scenes could have been used for later, and they could have, like stretched some things out just a little bit more, give us a little bit more context. For instance, I wanted to see how Kate dealt with the fact that, Cypher is probably stronger, might have mind reading abilities because your boy moved really, really fast. Like, is he some type of predatory animal or something? Because to be able to move as fast as he did to respond to her, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm more interested in that. I wanted to see that kind of like develop itself just a little bit more. That's why I give it an 8. Everyone else who's watching this, how would you have rated this particular episode? And before we close out, any parting comments that you didn't get a chance to say that you want to say right now as everyone starts typing?
No. I mean, we touched on the races. I think that would have been that was the only thing I thought about before we started. So I think I'm good.
Hell yeah.
I am good as well. I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay. Well, Johnny gives it an 8 as well. So Chad,
you coming in close?
You need to grow another half inch.
You need to give it that whole 8.
I'm trying to see. They're gonna get the whole 8 next time.
Let's put the tip in for now.
Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social media. Until next time, y'all have a good one.